So how do you actually use bronzer? I am going to be showing you that today. I'm going to be talking about the kind of color you need to go for, how you apply it, what brush you should use to apply it, how you blend it, everything you need to know about how to apply bronzer. So stay tuned. Before we head into the video, don't forget that I do have an online publication called Confessions of a Creative, covering several different topics such as self, entrepreneurship, health, beauty, style, a bit of everything, all written by me. There are two different options for subscription. You have one which is free, which gives you access to some of the site. The other is paid and only costs you around £1 a month, and you get access to so much more. You get access to the whole site, plus subscriber perks and benefits, and a room where we can actually chat, which is pretty cool, like actually chat. And you get to hear some of my answers for the questions that you actually ask over here, over there. Now, if you do like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button so that you never miss any of my future videos. And I'm on Instagram, so don't forget to check me out there. Now let's head straight into this video. There seems to be so much confusion about bronzers and contouring, like do you do it together? Is it for contouring? Is it just for that sun-kissed look? I really want to talk to you about how you can be using a bronzer. And the reason I said can and not should is because I feel like there are no rules when it comes to makeup. It's really about what makes you feel comfortable and how you feel good in that particular product. So I really want to talk to you about how you can use bronzer. So this is all about how you should be applying it, what you should be using to apply that product with, and how you go about picking your color and what kind of results that you can get from it. Now, I'm going to be using a bronzer in particular. This is the Fenty Sunstalker in Island Ting, and this is a good bronzer and it's a really good shade for me. Now, I'm hoping you can really see the color here, because you can see it's kind of similar to my skin color, but it's just a little bit darker. So it's a little bit deeper than my skin tone. It's not so much darker where it's going to be really obvious, and that's the great thing about getting a shade at this level in comparison to your skin color, because you really want something which isn't going to be overly dark, so that when you actually dip that brush into that bronzer and then into your onto your face, you're not going to get a crazy amount of darkness there. Like, it's going to be like a gradual build up of color. So when it does come to actually picking your color, try and go for something which is just a hint deeper than your skin tone. When it comes to your undertone, you can pick something which is close to your undertone, but ultimately I don't want you to stress yourself out thinking about that too much, because if you start thinking, right, okay, this says cool, so therefore it's not right for me, you're just basically cancelling out colors without even knowing whether actually it might go okay with my skin tone. So don't worry about the undertones when it comes to your bronzers. Don't even look at it. I want you to start trusting your own judgment when it comes to actually picking out the right shade. So rather than rely on what the brand tells you to look at, which is the back and the label, like what they class as being cool and warm and what they class as being a sun-kissed look or an ultra warm look, think about what it is like compared to your skin. Like, does this work well compared to your skin? Because ultimately when the brand makes these products, they don't sit there thinking, for example, oh, Nina has this color skin, so I'm going to create this bronzer and it's going to match her skin perfectly, because they don't know who I am. They don't know like what your skin color is like. They're not thinking of any particular skin color. They're thinking of, do we have enough shades, and let's just pick a random 40 people with different shades of skin color and let's just see if it suits them, and there are so many more skin tones out there. So it's really difficult. Even with like 40 shades of bronzer, it can still be a hit or miss. You still may not necessarily find your shade, and that goes for like foundations too. So I really want you guys to understand that you need to start trusting your own judgment when it comes to actually picking out the right color. Think about whether it actually is close to your skin tone. Is it really close to your skin tone but just a little bit warmer or a little bit deeper, in which case it probably may go with your skin tone. So that's that when it comes to actually picking your color. Hopefully that's cleared that up for you. I really want to keep this video short and sweet so that I'm not overwhelming you with so much information. That's the color side of things. Now when it comes to the texture, you can opt for different textures. You can go for a cream bronzer, you can go for a liquid bronzer, you can go for a powder bronzer. We are going to be working with a powder bronzer today, because ultimately I feel like that is the kind of texture that most people would go for, including myself. I feel like it's more of a universal texture that people use. So we're going to be sticking to that. If you want to opt for cream or liquid, basically you can use that in different ways. So I think that if you do want a video on a cream or liquid bronzer, let me know in the comments box below and we'll create one for you. Now when it comes to the type of brush that you want to use for this, I can't sit here and say this is the brush that's going to work perfectly for you. I can say that this is the brush that's going to work well for a lot of people, because ultimately I feel like this has worked on nearly every one of my clients. Obviously Obviously I have separate brushes like duplicates, but this is my own stash here. Before anyone says anything, this is my own stash, only gets used on my face. I have a complete separate kit for clients. This is a brush which I use on myself and I have duplicates for clients, and it absolutely is amazing. This is the Hourglass Veil brush. This is a brush that I know you are going to use, and you know what the great thing about this is? It's a dual-ended brush where you actually use both sides of it. How many of you guys have had dual-ended brushes and you only like one side of it, right? Hands up. I know that has happened with me before. Well, this is the type of brush where you're going to use both sides because both sides are amazing. This is amazing for powder, like dusting off powder off your face or actually putting on powder with this. And then this is amazing for actually using it as a brush to contour or sculpt or just add some kind of sun-kissed finish to your look. Like you can use this with bronzer. You can actually use this side with the bronzer as well if you want to like really get a sun-kissed look. This is the brush that I'm going to talk about, but there are actually other brushes that you could go for. So for example, if you have a very petite face, ultimately you want to go for a brush which is a similar shape to this, but slightly smaller. So in which case I would recommend the Sigma Beauty F35 brush. This is a similar shape, but it is slightly smaller. So it really depends on the shape of your face because it really has to fit in well with your shape, but more so the size. You know, we all have different size faces. Now I'm going to go ahead and start with that in a second and show you. But before I do, I just want to remind you that I do have my own brush set at Sigma Beauty, which is currently available, and I can't wait for you guys to get your hands on it. It's here. And yeah, it's my favorites set. So it has a different selection of brushes in here, which I absolutely love. And basically, they are all the brushes you are ever going to need to create any type of eye look. Eyeliner, smoky, defined, under the lash line, whatever you need, you are going to be able to create that with these brushes. You're not going to need any other brushes. And on top of that, you get the Sigma Switch Pad, which is this thing over here. And this basically allows you to clean your brushes dry so that you can use a black on a brush, swirl it around on here, no water, and then use it in a light beige color. Like you're not going to get the color transfer because this takes it all off. It's amazing. You don't even have to wash your brushes. Obviously, I recommend washing your brushes like at least once a week. But in between different looks, if you've got a couple of looks in the day or over a couple of days and you don't have time to wash them, then you can very quickly clean your brushes on this. Not only that, you can actually use my discount code on this, which is Nina Ubhi 10. So make sure you head over to Sigma Beauty, grab your brush set because you can use my discount code, and I know you're going to love this. And let me know in the comments if you grab yours. Once you've ordered yours, I would love to know and hear your thoughts on it too. So moving on with this video, let's now talk about what a bronzer actually is, because there seems to be a lot of confusion, and rightly so, because I feel like there are a lot of people out there, and to be honest, a lot of them are actual makeup artists or, you know, makeup gurus who claim that actually a bronzer should only be used for a sun-kissed look. A contouring product should be used just to sculpt and contour. I don't know. Like, I can't get my head around this because honestly, if you are a creative, a makeup artist, you will know that nearly every, I say nearly every because I don't have the facts obviously, but it is a well-known fact that a professional makeup artist will never just use products based on what it says on the package, right? We multitask, we use products for different things because a lot of, you know, sometimes you forget something. So, okay, I've forgotten my, I don't know, my liquid liner, I'm gonna have to use my eyeshadow instead today. Like, there's always something, you know, that happens throughout your career that makes you have to utilize things in your kit which aren't necessarily for that specific thing. I'd say nearly every makeup artist does that, right? So I don't understand when you get some people who are apparently pros, you know, saying that actually this is what this is for and this is what this is for. Like, obviously that's what the box tells you. Obviously, right? Because it says bronzer and then you have contouring products. So I know that. That advice should not be given to people who can ultimately use things however they want to use them. If I were to honestly depot this and depot a sculpting powder, I can honestly tell you there will be no difference, right? They are both powders. They're just different shades. And one has been packaged to say bronzer. And it's probably, you know, you might get a variety of warm shades in that. And then you've got contouring products. They have been packaged to be contours. And they have probably been selected to be mainly kind of cool products. You know, it could be, or the odd warm product if they've decided to cater for a dark skin skins. Ultimately, there is no difference other than the fact that those specific brands have picked a selection of shades to mimic a sun-kissed look or to mimic a shadow and named that contour product and named that a bronzer product. There is no other difference there. Quit stating the obvious, which is that this is a bronzer and that's contour product, and actually realize that there are no rules when it comes to makeup. If you like something and it's safe to use on that area, then use it. Which ultimately a contour product and a bronzer product are safe to use either or. Like I could use a contour product on that cheek and it's going to be safe because it's the same place a bronzer would go. Do you know what I mean? So I can still use that. Now, I really want you guys, honestly, my main aim with this channel has been to obviously, number one, educate, but number two, to make you realize that you don't always have to believe what the packaging tells you. You don't always have to go by what it says it should be used for, because it's a shame for people like me, professional makeup artists and creatives, to just keep all this information to ourselves, because we've learned through the years, through working on, however many people, that, you can use this for this, and actually you can also use this. Like, why keep all that to yourself? Like, I've been through my career, I've had an amazing career, and I've learned so much from it. And the whole point is to obviously build my own knowledge and grow in my career, but also I want to be able to share that, because, why am I going to be selfish about that and keep that all for myself? It doesn't mean that, not everyone out there wants to become a makeup artist, but I want you guys to become your own makeup artist. I want you guys to be able to feel confident in doing your own makeup. So I find that it's really important to kind of like share these things. So that's the other point of my channel, is to make sure that you guys understand that there is so much more that you can do with makeup, and, not to be fooled that you have to use this product. Oh, I don't have a contour product, I've only got bronzer, so I'm going to have to go out and buy a contour product. You don't need to waste your money like that. There's so much you can do with the products that you probably already have at home. So I really hope that message comes across in most of my videos, but rather than go on about that, you can use a bronzer for contouring as well. If the shade works well for you, then that's what you can do. Ultimately, the difference between contouring and bronzing is that bronzing is to give a sun-kissed look, right? It gives a sun-kissed kind of look where the sun hits your face naturally, which, by the way, is debatable because it really depends where you're sitting. Honestly, it depends where you're sitting. And it doesn't mean that the sun's only going to hit there and only going to hit there. Let's just not even go into that. But contouring is when you are basically creating shadows on the face and kind of enhancing those shadows. You're giving the illusion of something. You're giving the illusion of another shape, or you're enhancing a shape. You're kind of disguising areas as well with contouring. So you can reshape the area. You can create shadows in certain areas, give depth to the face, right? That's the difference between those two terms. Now, ultimately, when you are using a product for contouring, you want to use something that mimics shadows, right? But you can still use a bronzer to sculpt, because if you pick the right shade, it's still going to mimic a shadow, but it's also going to give you that warmth where you need it. So rather than use two products, why not eliminate one and use one to do both, which is what I'm going to be showing you today. Now let's get into this. So I'm going to be using the shade Island Ting, which I may have already mentioned. Now the brush I'm going for is like a medium dome shape, and I am going to go into this like this. And because this color is so similar to my skin tone, but just a little bit deeper, it's fine to go all in like this. What I am going to do is probably take it off once on the back of my hand. That's about it. Now, the way I'm going to bronze today is I am going to kind of slightly contour at the same time, but ultimately what I want is that nice warmth coming through. I want that warmth to come through on my face, that sun-kissed look. First thing I like to do is my cheeks, because once that's done, that's the main area I'm concerned about. Once that's done, then I can decide whether I want to do it anywhere else. So first thing we're going to do is start from the top of the ear, and I'm kind of like bouncing, you can see here, right? Bouncing, focus on that area first rather than going all the way in. And then we're slowly going to go in towards the upper lip. Now we're not focused on just creating a really nice cheekbone, which by the way, that is already done, right? What we are doing is also taking it up into the cheek, right? So don't take it too low. We're going from the top of the ear, going towards the lip, but then we're really making sure we're kind of going slightly above it as well, so that we do see that warmth coming through as a sun-kissed effect. So we're really kind of like making sure it's also going above that area onto the cheek area. So almost where you would probably put your blush, right? Now right here you can see that we've got that nice sculpt there. I mean, look at the difference, right? But it's also given us that warmth. Now we're going to go ahead and do this up here. I'm going to just add a bit here because obviously we want to go for that sun-kissed look, but I also do want it to kind of like, just kind of like sculpt my face a little bit. So I'm going along the hairline because ultimately, look, if I apply it here, I don't want a blob of darkness there, right? So I do want it to be on the perimeter of the face and slowly kind of like seep inwards. There you go. I like that because I feel like I've got that nice warmth. I'm going to go along the jawline a little bit. And this is where you can kind of like just go back and forth because it's under the jawline. And yeah, there you go. That is literally it, guys. It's given me the warmth, but it's also given me a bit of sculpt. Let's go ahead and do this same thing here. See what I mean? So we are gonna sculpt, but also go onto the cheek area. Because what happens is we've gone under there and it's created a bit of a shadow, right? Which ticks the contour box. But then we've gone over onto the cheek area, which ticks the kind of like sun-kissed look. So we've kind of given a sun-kissed look along with sculpting the area. And the great thing is about using bronzer is that you don't actually need to use a lot. That is honestly all you would need. I've got a nice sun-kissed look. I'm definitely looking sun-kissed in comparison to before. And I've managed to sculpt my face a little bit. So I really do hope that that has kind of helped you. Now, it's a very quick and easy tutorial, but I really wanted to kind of spend some time at the beginning explaining to you what the difference is, why you need to understand that bronzing doesn't have to just be a sun-kissed look. There's a lot more you can do with it. And yeah, I really do hope that that's helped. It's honestly as easy as that. It is just about applying it to the perimeter, bringing it inward slightly, but really making sure that your placement is right. So we're making sure that we're getting that kind of sculpting, but we're also adding that sun-kissed look. And if you use the right color, which I've already explained, you will get the most amazing result. So I really do hope that this has helped you a lot and you're going to go away and actually try this, because I can't wait to hear your thoughts on it. And yeah, I'm sending you loads of love. So wherever you guys are in the world, I'm sending you good vibes. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button so that you never miss any of my future videos. Until the next video, take care and I'll see you soon.